This is the F&G show.
The F&G show.
Over.
Glass of wine.
And today on the docket,
Olympic scandals.
Yes, Olympic scandals. Let's see if we agree as the prosecutor defender here. We'll see. Today we're going to watch this video about Sha'carri Richardson. You know, she calls out the Olympics for a double standard.
Yes.
Teresa, I'll give you the last word on this. Where do you come down on this situation when it comes to Sha'carri and calling out this double standard? Do you think that she is within her rights to call it out, even though she did, in fact, break the rules? Or do you think she should probably just sit this one out?
No, I think Sha'carri was absolutely in her rights. I mean, look, we can't, only ask for us to be treated fairly if we're not being treated fairly. Mm-hmm. So part of it is, the excuses that has been coming up ever since Sha'carri has put this out there was, the young lady, Bolivia, probably her name, but the young Russian woman, they said she was a minor and she's a protected person. So, her rules are a bit different than adults. But, to Mustafa's point, THC is a relaxing drug versus, an actual performing drug, correct. Which apparently they knew in December of last year. And when Sha'carri got in her situation, they knew within that week. And so endorsement deals and everything else went by the helm. So I think, when we want to talk about justice, when we want to talk about equality and just across the board, not only for athletes, but just for us as a people, Sha'carri was very clear. Because of the color of my skin, this is why I'm in this situation. And honestly, the facts show. It shows that this was one of the many reasons. One, it's just not the color of her skin. It's because she was a high-performing athlete. And she would have likely taken home the gold. So, again, if we can't have the rules only for one particular group of people, it has to be fair across the board.
I agree.
And I think, the U.S. absolutely needs to step up, not only for Sha'carri, but for the many others that will likely happen after her.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I'm going to stick beside Sha'carri. I stand with Sha'carri.
All right, we'll just talk about that a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, before we go on to the next bit. Sha'carri Richardson. She was caught smoking a little weed after her mama died.
Yeah, that's what the story is, yes.
And she ended up going away,
couldn't compete.
Trying to deal with it and everything. They put her out. They wouldn't let her compete.
Wouldn't let her compete.
Even though, if I'm not mistaken, she still could have waited 30 days, tested clean, and still could have did something. I'm not too sure what that time frame was. Or if they said, you're doping, you're out of here. But my thing with that is, yes, we're talking about the Russian skater who got caught doping, the younger lady, 15-year-old. Yeah, of course, weed is a relaxing, and the drug the other lady was taking was performance enhancing.
Mm-hmm. Two different things. But we as a people, black folks, if we want justice and we want to have people side with us, we already know we got to have a clean slate. That means you got to be beyond reproach. You got to be able to say, hey, I didn't do nothing, and you treat me like this. But because she did smoke the weed, even though it's weed, it still was illegal. So she still can open her mouth about it. Of course, she
like,
can.
I did this, why can't you do it? But you can't say.
There's a double standard.
There's a double standard. But you can't negate the situation.
Well, she sat out. She did. She sat out, and that was probably fine. Yeah, she sat out.
Whenever I talk about somebody and I make a mistake, I acknowledge that mistake, and then I go from there. I don't just talk like I never made a mistake.
And she did say that.
And that's what Sha'carri Richardson should always, when she's open her mouth, to say, yeah, I smoked weed and it was wrong.
Yeah, I think she did all that.
No, she went straight for the girl's throat saying,
no, when she got caught.
Because I was black. No. This happened. She did that. She still tried to say that.
She said both of them. She said both of them. She did admit that she shouldn't have done it, and she was going through
thing with her parents, mother dying.
Every time she opened her mouth about drugs, about anybody else, that should be the first thing out of her mouth. What she did.
Well, I think she did the right thing. She stayed out. So, and now if she didn't stay out and still, yeah, but she stayed out, and I think that's the right thing to do.
No, I'm not talking about that part of it.
But the fact that the other lady got a free pass, that's where the double standard is. If you're gonna treat the athletes, you need to treat them all the same. If you're not gonna treat them all the same, don't have no Olympics at all.
That I agree with.
If you're not gonna treat them all the same, just get rid of the Olympics. We already know Russia always dope up their athletes. They've been doing it for 50 to 100 years, doping up their athletes. All the way from 11 to 12 years old. That's why Russia wins all the awards, because they doping up everybody.
And if I recall, U.S. always had more gold medals at the end of it all. So that means we must be doping up too then.
Well, not necessarily. We know Russia uses doping. They've been doing it. Every year Olympics, Russia get caught with doping. They've been doing it. Every Olympics. I don't even watch the Olympics, by the way, because everybody's doped up.
You didn't watch it, so how you know?
The news reports tell me, here you go, another Russian elite doped up, another Russian athlete doped up, another Russian athlete doped up. They got caught, so they've been Russia. It's Russia again, y'all. They don't. All they do is cheat.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and after the young lady did all that, they still allow her to keep skating,
which was a mistake.
And this video here is talking about her downfall.
Okay, let's see.
No pun intended.
Christine, you called this performance a disaster for Valieva. What did you see happening out on the ice?
Valieva.
Kate, it was heartbreaking. I was in the arena. Patrick, of course, good to see you again. And it was unexpected. It was shocking. It was heartbreaking. And you couldn't help but think you were watching the results of the abuse of a child right there on that ice, Olympic ice, the world's greatest stage. It obviously, the weight of the world on her shoulders. She had a little trouble in the short program. This was just awful. 4 mistakes. The first 4 jumps, all mistakes, including one fall. Then a good jump, and then another fall. This is the greatest skater in the world. This is one of the greatest talents we have ever seen in figure skating. Reduced to just a kid in trouble. Yeah, it's something that I think people who watched it or will watch it later in the United States will never forget. It was unsettling, troubling, awful, just awful. And shame on Russia, shame on those coaches for putting her in this position. You just can't help but think.
Russia's not going to stop doping up their athletes.
How is she going to recover? Is she going to be okay? So many questions, and one of the more troubling days and evenings I have seen in my sports career.
Patrick, I just want to get your take on what happened today, but also how this entire saga, truly sad, has played out.
Well, first of all, we've been very lucky to have Christine over there, because her reporting on this has been unbelievable. So thank you, Christine, for all you've been doing. But this, to me, is, here's my first reaction, Kate. Are you happy now? Russians, are you happy that this is the way this has gone down? Not only did she come in 4th place, as you see her there, in tears, devastated, distraught. She's 15 years old, okay? And then the IOC had said when they made their decision here, or the CAS, I should say, when they made the decision, said, oh, well, we're worried about the repercussions for her. Well, what about the repercussions now of what she's had to go through? And
that's kind of in my mind, too.
Yeah, and the 2 Russians finished 1-2, and Trusova, who finished 2nd, who got the silver, was in tears herself. And in fact, she was heard saying to a Russian media outlet, I don't want to skate ever again. So are they happy? Are they going to just move on now? And I hope that this is a wake-up call for everyone in the figure skating world, and particularly in what's going on within these Olympic Games. An absolute disgrace.
So what does it mean now, Christine, for medal ceremony? Another Russian skater won gold, and you've noted that they actually, train under the same coach?
That's correct. All 3 of the Russians in this competition, all coached by the same woman, Terry Tuperidze. She also had the 2 top, the gold and the silver 4 years ago, and she had one of the stars of the 2014 games. So now, she's cornered the market on this, and it's so troubling. She's now under investigation. The really good news here is she's already assured of being under investigation because of the doping scandal.
Yeah, she probably doped up too when she won.
Positive. But this is her stable, and they go far from home. These girls at a very young age, parents can't be there. They train hard. They're basically interchangeable. You kind of figure that this is it for these three, because in 4 more years, the 11 and 12-year-olds right now will be the ones that are coming along. And to Patrick's point, the IOC and others, I'm not sure the Russians can govern themselves. Someone has to step in and say enough is enough. And shut down this coach, shut down the doping, and also just basically kick Russia out of an Olympics or two to make the point here how serious this is. So we've watched this develop over the last week, and maybe this is the awful but fitting conclusion that this needed to have, to wake everyone up to say, okay, there's a child, and look at what you've just done to her.
Christine, thank you. Patrick, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here. Thank you very much.
Well,
That settles it for me.
you know what they say. Karma's up. And I don't want to show compassion for anybody, because Sha'carri Richardson, her dumb behind, shouldn't have been smoking no weed anyways, doing it was illegal. She should have had her people stopping her and being there as a support system when she's going through what she went through with her mama. And the reporter putting that out there, he was wrong. All of them was wrong. And then with this here, they allowed the young girl to go out there at 15 years old, and because of that, she's gonna be scandalized. So I don't feel like, oh, she's 15 hard. If she would have won, everybody would be like, oh, she won it. Oh, no. So yeah, she fell 4 times. She came in 4th place.
And they didn't show as much compassion for Sha'carri as they did for this little girl right here.
And see,
that just doesn't make any sense to me. You're going to show compassion for a 15-year-old, but Sha'carri,
well,
she's a drug addict. She's a dope head.
She was legal age. So 15 is much different from the legal age.
Well,
so
yeah.
that's why she didn't deserve no compassion. Everything she need compassion for that reporter that brought it out when no one knew, and her mother passing away. But her doping up and being kicked out, she don't need compassion for that either.
No, she really doesn't. You're right. You're right about. We agree again, Law.
and the world must be coming to an end.
And
Russia's out of control, boy.
They are so desperate to win.
I'm moving to Russia.
They so desperate to win, they will give a 9-year-old some performance-enhancing drugs. Because didn't you hear that in the news report just now? Well, next year, the 11s and the 12-year-olds are coming along. So they're going to dope up the 9, 10, and 11-year-old skaters too? Yep. The answer is kick Russia out of the Olympics and they'll never let them back in. Then you can take care of this mess.
Well, that pretty much settles it from the skating scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Russia.
Yep, back to Russia.
That's it here from the F&G show.
F&G show.
Over.
Glass of wine.
Now, if you all got anything to say about what we said, put it in the comments below and let us know that we off base.
Yeah.
That we out of line.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you agree with us.
Come with the proof now.
That's right.
You know I'm a defender. Don't say anything.
And normally if I'm defending you, I'm going to defend you. But I can't do it when you're like that. I don't care how old you are. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.